Hey, what's up everyone? It's your girl Bree and today I'm doing my May wrap up. And so if you want to know what I read in May for the full month of May, please stay tuned.
Every single day I'm gonna make something great. That's my way. Every single day I'm gonna make.
And we're back. So I've read a lot of books this month. I think I read, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8 books in May. I cannot believe that I did that during my hectic schedule, but I was able to. And so let's go ahead and get started. So the first book I read in May was Children of Virtue and Vengeance by Tomi Adeyemi. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars due to I really love the book. I love Zaylee. I love Anon. Well, not really. I don't really like Anon. He was such an a-hole. But I used to like their little Zaylee and Anon thing they had going on, but nah, it wasn't working. And Amari, which in this book it was a little bit disappointing of Amari, and her character sort of just like went really dark real fast, and it made me really reconsider on how many stars I wanted to give this book. So I'm gonna keep my 5 out of 5 stars, but it gave me a hesitation to do so due to the fact of Amari and her actions of pretty much becoming like her dad and her mother at the same time, and sacrificing her people, who she says is her people, and she wants to rule as you know, her people in the right direction and help everyone from oppression and whatnot. But she went left real quick, which Amari, that really surprised me, and everything about it. It just got really dark in this book, and I feel like Tomi Adeyemi, I love her as an author and a writer, but I feel like this book, for it to be pushed back, I thought it would give me a little bit more. Not so much of a rush job, I think, at the very end, because it just seemed like she was rushing it in order to make it into a way where there'll be another book coming. But how it went about, I just didn't really, I don't know, it gave me mixed feelings. But I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars due to just how much I love the character Zaylee and her wanting to help her people. So this is the first book that I read. Second book that I read is Clap When You Land by Elizabeth Espedo, which this came out in May, and I read it and I loved it. I even did a review about it, so I will leave that in the cards if you want to know my opinion about this book. Third book that I read, which I know I say this all the time, but people probably don't believe me, but I have not read all of Harry Potter's books, but I'm going to. That is my goal, to at least read all of the books eventually. So I read the 4th book, Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. I really enjoyed this book. I liked it better than the movie. This gave a lot more details, a lot more. I felt like I was there when I read this book. And Dobby in this book is just really cute. I really enjoyed it. I think even though he was rarely in the book, like rarely spoken about in the book, I loved him, and he was just, I love it. I love his character. Of course, I love Harry Potter, Harry, Hermione, and Ron. But I liked it. I really enjoyed it. I liked everything about it, the details, all the tasks that Harry had to do. It was very detailed, and I loved it very much. So I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars because I loved it, and I look forward to reading the next one. I don't know when I'm going to be doing that, but I know it's a big book, and I have to prepare myself for it. But I do plan on, like I said, finishing the series pretty soon. But this is the other book that I read. Next book, I wanted to finish the duology. I read the first book in 2018 when it came out, and I got the exclusive cover from Owl Crate, which I thought was gorgeous. And then so the second book came out last year in 2019, which I read it, then I stopped reading it because I couldn't get into it, but then I finally mentally got myself prepared for it, and so I read it. So this is The Queen of Ruin by Tracy Banghart. I actually like this. Women coming together, fighting for what they believe in, fighting for their rights. I really enjoyed it. I think I wish there was a little bit more action. There was action, don't get me wrong, a lot of going on at the end, but I feel like there could have been more, you know, given in this book, because I really enjoyed the first one. But I did give this a 5 out of 5 stars due to the fact that I love both of the characters. I liked all the women in this character, of women coming together as one and fighting to have equal rights as men, as far as being able to read and marry who they want to marry and what have you, and work and not become a grace or whatever, and everything like that. So I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars and I really enjoyed it. So here's this one. Next book that I read, I did a huge vlog on this one, and this came out also in May. Literally right when I got it, I started reading it, and that is The Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes by Suzanne Collins. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars because I enjoyed it. Snow's character, as you all know, this is based off of Snow, President Snow, like way before he became the president. And he was a mentor in this book, and the mentor to the girl in District 12, which is really crazy, right? And I believe, and if I remember correctly, her name was Lucy, from what I remember, because I believe so. And then on top of that, like, anyways, I did a whole vlog on this book. So I definitely would, I'll leave that up in the cards for you to see, because it was very, very interesting. So this is the other book that I read in May. Next book, I wanted to read this. It was on my shelf. I was able to meet her personally and get this book signed by her. It's been on my shelf and I really wanted to get a hold of it and to finally read it. And that was Harbor Me by Jacqueline Woodson. These are pretty much kids coming together in a group in a classroom, which they call the ARTT room, a room to talk, where their teacher allowed them to pretty much talk every Friday for an hour at the end of the day. And these children all together, they're pretty much sharing their experiences. Each one of them, their fathers is in jail. And the other one, their father pretty much told him that he could no longer play with toy guns because the police would kill him immediately without hesitation, even if he's a child. There was another one who, he was the only white boy in the neighborhood, and he was being picked on because he was the only white boy in the neighborhood and in the school. And he just felt like an outcast because he moved all the way from Connecticut to New York. And so there's a lot of these kids that come together and they pretty much share their experiences, their personal experiences, and I feel like this book is really relevant right now in this time. And I mean, if you have not read this book, I think you should pick it up, because a lot of, as an adult, we think about the kids, but we don't think about the kids, because they see a lot and they actually understand a lot more than what we think they know. And so I really think you should definitely get a hold of this, but I really enjoyed it. So I read this one and I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars for sure. Next book. This book, let me just say, I wanted to read it just to get back into the world, because the other book that has been years and years for us to get back into that world it's been 13 years, 10, 11, 12, I don't remember. So I want to get a taste of going back into that world and getting back into that mindset for when the book comes out, I think in August or September. So I got this book, The Short Second Life of Bree Tanner by Stephanie Meyer. I give it a 2 stars out of 5, because it was okay. I don't know what I expected, because it's a novella. A lot of novellas, though, are really good, but this one, I'm glad that I got to know Bree a little bit better. I wish I got to know her before she became a vampire. Now, that would have been something I really would have enjoyed. It gave us glimpses of how she was beforehand or whatever, but I really wish we got to experience her before she became a vampire and all that, and then she becomes a vampire, and her transition to becoming a vampire and becoming her own as a vampire. And it had a little romance in here, but then that was really short-lived, of course, as you all should know, hopefully. So I gave this a 2 out of 5 stars, because I read it, but I was struggling to read it. Let's put it that way. So yeah, so I read this just to get back into that to this world of Twilight so that the new book Midnight Sun, when it comes out, I'll be ready, because that book is going to be from the perspective of Edward, which I'm a little nervous and excited at the same time, because I know in the books he seemed like an a-hole, but in the movie he seemed like a gentleman in a way, so it's really weird. So yeah, 2 out of 5 stars for this one. Last but not least, I had got this as an ARC. I was so excited that I had gotten this. I was not expecting it in the mail. And so right when I got it in the mail, I started reading it because I really wanted to get into this world. And this book is Moulin Rouge meets The Phantom of the Opera. And I think some of you already know about this book because it's been a rave. This book comes out, it was supposed to come out in June this month, but it's not May anymore anyway, this month, but it's been pushed back to August. But I was able to get a hold of the ARC, and I'm happy, and that is Where Dreams Descend by Janella Angelise. 5 out of 5 stars. I really enjoyed this. I loved the character so freaking much. Like Kalia, love it. Of always wanting to pretty much go against the grain. She didn't care if she was the only woman magician or what have you. She was going to do it. She wanted to have that freedom of being who she wants to be in her life, because she felt like she was pretty much imprisoned. And for that, I really enjoyed this because she was the only female competitor, because there was pretty much a competition going on in the it's a city called Glorian, and it's a mysterious city where a lot of things are unsolved, a lot of things are unknown. Some people don't even remember the history of the city, not even the mayor. So it seemed like people's memories were wiped out. But I loved it so much, and I loved the little romance with Darren in this book as well. But like I said, I really enjoyed it. I love the women in this book really much, coming together, going against the grain of the man's world. And a lot of people, and like Kalia, she had a great personality. She was outspoken, like she just wanted to do her thing. She didn't care what fashions Glorian had. She wanted to be her own person, and so she did her thing. And so yeah, I give this a 5 out of 5 stars. I definitely recommend you picking up this book and at least pre-ordering it, because it's amazing. And this is, I think it might be, I don't know how many books coming. I know there's another book for this, so I'm not sure how many books. I don't know if it's a duology or not. I'm not sure, but I really enjoyed this book and I definitely recommend it. So I gave it a 5 out of 5 stars altogether because it was amazing. Loved it. But that is it, you guys. Those are all the books that I read in May. I don't even know how I did it. I was in my zone, because usually I can't really do it, but because of hectic schedule and my children, which I love so dearly. But I did it. So hopefully this month I can do the same thing, you know. But there you have it, you guys. I hope you enjoyed my May wrap up. There's a lot of, it's a mixture of books here. You have fantasy, you have contemporary, you have dystopian. You got a lot going on in this thing. So it's a mashup of things. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Also hit that subscribe button and that bell to be notified when I upload more videos in the future. But thank you so much, you guys. See ya.